Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is I, the host with the partial most, Chris Chase, welcoming you once again to another edition, another episode of the House of Common Show. I think, gentlemen, we're going to go with this every 2 weeks thing. I think that's how season 3 has to work, because we do not have the ability to do every week. We just learned that after. That's why I say I don't know if it's a season 3 or a season 2.7 or 2.8 or just kind of, back in the day when you were a kid and you're watching cartoons and it's like ABC special edition, special news sort of thing, because Iraq was invading Kuwait or something like that for Desert Storm or whatever else it is. Maybe this is one of those things. I don't know. Either way, it is so great to have you with us once again. We are a collective of 10 guys, or 4 tonight. We might have more join in halfway through. You never know how the thing works. You never know who might pop in at some point. But we are glad to be. We are glad to have you with us as friends of ours. Remember, just a reminder that you can look back on shows from season 1 and season 2 on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, clips of the good-looking gentlemen that you see on this screen, along with other friends of ours from the show. You can find clips of us on YouTube as well. Make sure when you find the stuff, subscribe to the stuff, share the stuff, all things. I was talking to somebody today. I was doing a Facebook Live today, gentlemen, and they were talking about how much the House of Common show, especially season 1, helped them through the pandemic. Guys, I gotta say this: we're saving lives. We're saving lives in these streets. That's why we do what we do. That's why it's 10:08 p.m. on a Wednesday night. We're out here putting out the hot content for you, the viewing public, because we're out here trying to save lives. So, gentlemen, we got O'Shea in the building. We got Sifan in the building. Sifan looking like he's 16 years old with it's not even a connected goatee, just the bottom rung. We got Tim Sills there. And gentlemen, it's been a crazy week. So many things have happened, but the thing that is probably sort of in the forefront of the brain is Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, formerly known as, probably one of our favorite artists, and maybe music wise he still might be, but he's been in the news as of late. This week he was at a Ye season 9 fashion show, and he came out in a long sleeve shirt that had emblazoned on the back of it White Lives Matter. He also had Candace Owens, and we'll describe her however you want, but Candace Owens is also wearing a shirt that said White Lives Matter. He also had Lauryn Hill's daughter, Lauryn Hill. I'll use her song, "You Might Win Some, you just lost one." Her daughter was also wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt, and you have conservatives who are literally like singing hallelujah because Kanye, who was wearing a Make America Great Again hat a while ago, who ran against President Joe Biden, all the things like that, they're so happy that he is hyping up the White Lives Matter. These same people who were completely against the idea of saying Black Lives Matter 2, 3, 4, 5 slavery years ago. So, gentlemen, I put it to you, Kanye has been, Ye is Ye. Ye has been Ye for a minute. And what are your thoughts when you see this? What are we like? Are we done with Ye? Are we still hoping that there's still a college dropout part 2 inside of him? Are we blaming, like I saw a tweet that said, I hope that nobody's blaming mental health on this. And that's a line, right? Like that's a big statement to make, right? Invoking mental health and this sort of thing. But guys, like, toss to the boys in the house. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Kanye West, Ye, White Lives Matter. I'm not saying that I'm saying the statement that was on the shirt before somebody takes that clip and goes like, you see, Christians believes it too.
Could you talk about half of me like that?
Oh boy.
I'll jump first. It's horrible because through all of this, I'm just anticipating the next album. Like I want to see where this is going. Like, yo, you look at everything, man. Every time he's had like these social blunders and stuff like that, we've been blessed with an album. So like, yo, give me 2-3 months, I'll be excited. So like, yo, if you gotta come out and do all this foolishness with a PR for me to get an album, I'm here for that. That's all I gotta say is I'm here for the album that's coming out about White Lives Matter and him justifying why he wore that shirt.
I don't even know what to make of that. I kind of wish you went second and not first, O'Shea. That's a weird. There's a weird table setting now.
Oh.
Calvin, I'm gonna go to you because I'm gonna go from O'Shea, who got one take, to Calvin, who will have a little bit more, just a whole different one. When we're this whole Ye thing, this whole White Lives Matter on the shirt thing, what's your feelings on Ye right now?
Some people should just do art. I'm over it. I don't know if it's a gimmick. I don't know if he's sick. I don't know if he's a clone. But Kanye, just make good music, man. That's all I gotta say. We're over it.
That's basically the same take I had, except
when you say over it though, Cal, like what do you mean by over it? Like what like break that down for me. Like what do you mean by when you say like I'm over it? We're over it.
I think that his conversations that he's trying to have should probably happen off camera in a cafe somewhere. I think that as we've seen, if he sits down and he has an interview with someone, he really is able to make sense of it over a long period of time. But he's on something. He knows we're going to watch, and there's no checks and balances anymore. And I actually think it's proving to be pretty harmful, some of his ideas and ideologies. And, you know, he's fueling the fire against people who believe in causes that some of us have got behind. And Kanye, man, just make good music, bro. Like you're not our elected official. We, as Tim says, are not a monolith. And it's confusing to the people that are trying to have progressive conversations with us about people who look like us when he's out here doing what he's doing.
Tim Watson, what are some of your thoughts?
I can go, and then for Kanye, it's at the point that it doesn't surprise me that he's doing something like this. It's sadly becoming par for the course, but I can't even say sadly because, to quote myself, we aren't a monolith, and so he is.
It's a flex when you're quoting yourself as a flex. It's a flex. To quote me quoting me.
Referencing, what was it? Colorism or code switching, whatever. But it's something that for us, I think it's just more our response that because Kanye looks like us and he does music that we love, he then is supposed to be for us on the side of topics and everything else that we care for. But it's one of those things that what we're seeing, whether it's mental illness induced or anything on that end, he is allowing himself to express himself in that way. So I see Kanye and he does something and it's like, okay, yeah, that's what he does. In the words of O'Shea, can't wait for the next album.
Watson, what are you saying?
Oh man, Kanye West. I just, this is twofold. First is I just don't know what's going on in his head. Like, what is he thinking? Like, where is he at? And I know that we don't wanna blame mental illness, or we don't, but we really need to actually stop for a moment, and I just don't know, man. He's lost it. I think he's totally lost it. Remember, this is the same guy that said George Bush doesn't care about black people, which is wild because here is Kanye West sort of this is, like I said earlier, this is one of the biggest heel turns I've ever seen. This guy went from being a good guy to a bad guy. It's just crazy how Kanye has transformed, and then to see him with Candace Owens, like there he is with Candace Owens, and they're posing together, and you're like, wow, this is insane. I don't think we can really even respect Kanye anymore, because I think he takes life as one big publicity stunt. Right, just everything he's just trying to get his name out there. He's just trying to, like O'Shea and Cal and Tim have said, like, when's the next album? Because this seems to be right up Kanye's vein. Hold on a second, let me see. This seems to be right up Kanye's vein of doing something wild and doing something just absolutely stupid for the sake of publicity, because we know the next album is coming. So, and second, we need to just stop letting the people take away our energy. Like Candace Owens, Kanye West, I feel like they just love to troll the black community now, just by doing some outlandishly stupid things. There's no need for this. There's no reason for this other than to just get us talking about it. So hey, listen, Kanye West, you made it to an episode of The House of Common again.
Again.
We appreciate
easy food for fodder. I had somebody email me about this and go like, what do you think about this? Like, it's not even what I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad to talk about it with you guys because you guys are the homies and we can chop it up and all see things from different angles. But it's not even what he's done is exactly what he's always sort of done. He's always sort of pushed the envelope, or but I guess, Timmy said it, like, it always felt like he was pushing the envelope on the side of the oppressed. Right, so you look at songs like, I was thinking about, Diamonds of Sierra Leone, where he's talking about conflict diamonds and the plight of Africa and things of that nature. The entire College Dropout album is looking at the idea of black men, especially, being underutilized and underserved and not cared for. The song Spaceships, where he's like, oh, we got the token black guy, let's put him in the front of the store, like that sort of stuff. And to see it kind of like do this 180. And he was asked, I put the article in our chat today, like when he's being flamed for it, and he's like, yes, white lives matter. And it's like, no one ever said that they didn't. The reason why people are saying Black Lives Matter is because of how much white lives already matter, whether it's been a statement or not. You feel me? And if you want to make it about, and we've had a conversation about BLM, the organization. We've had a conversation about that. You check out season 1. I believe it's season 1, right, guys? Season 1.
Yeah.
We have a whole conversation about BLM, the organization, Black Lives Matter, the organization, versus Black Lives Matter, the statement. We have a whole conversation about that, and we chop it up, the whole lot of us. And if you want to have a problem about Black Lives Matter, the organization, you have a problem with any organization if you want to. But if Kanye West is trying to create a White Lives Matter organization, they already exist. They're called the police department. They're called government. They're called schools. They're called PTA things. They're called churches. They're called stores. They're called. You name it. It's already there. So I don't know. Like I look at this and I'm disappointed, because it gives people who have naturally always been anti-black, but I didn't have the words for it, another person say, oh, look, he's just like us. He believes like we do. And they would, and he's a billionaire, so he can withstand all the vitriol from the black community. Because I don't care, like I can buy all of you, which is a whole other thing, Yeah,
which he's kind of said, right? I think I've had to fight the apologist for Kanye route that is easy to get into as a fan of his art, and even some of his thoughts on policies and human flourishing, let's say. But the idea that maybe he's joking, the fact that that's an idea in my head, I hate it. It's so frustrating because, like, what if he's not joking this time? Or what if he actually is joking, but it is as harmful as we feel like it could be? And that's where I'm just like, bro, just do your music. Like, no more publicity stunts. Like, put out your garbage clothes that I'm not buying. And I'm not buying it because I don't like your political views and statements. But, like, you're working against a certain progress. This has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. This has nothing to do with All Lives Matter. You're undercutting progress. It doesn't matter if you're liberal, if you're conservative, how you feel about this, how you feel about that. And that's what's disappointing to me. I'm not sitting here being like, oh, I thought he was on my team. Kanye's never been my spokesperson. He just makes music that I like. But it's the conversations, the text messages that I've been getting today, from Black people and white people being like, or what do you think? And like you did, Chris. And it's like, why do I have to talk about this fool? Right. And if I don't talk about it, then it's like, oh, you're silent now, eh? Right. You're silent now, eh? And then the people who want, people like us, whether we're individual or as a collective, as we are, to speak about this, to kind of be, a voice of reason, or to try and give an angle that someone else might not have considered. It's exhausting. Like, dude, just make music.
The question I find myself asking is, I saw the picture of the T-shirt, is how much money is he charging for that? Because
it's a solid $80 to.
It's like, and it's not one of those things that I'm like asking that as a joke, but I'm sincerely asking. It's like, is he gonna roll out there and pull a Kanye West move on it, where he basically is gonna be like, okay, yeah, this shirt is designer. This is a special design impact font by me, and it's gonna cost $300 for it, because it's one of those things that, as crazy as he is at times, or that he presents himself, and then you'll see him sit down and talk with someone that knows him, and you're just like, how come I can't see this Kanye all the time? It's one of those things that I'm looking at it and going, it's like, how much is he going to charge for this? It's something that he knows that win or lose, he's going to make money. Because he's either going to sell it to those that are of the persuasion of White Lives Matter,
Republicans,
or you will have some people, not necessarily, like maybe some Black people or people that are in favor of Black Lives Matter, that will buy it and burn it. But at the end of the day, he still gets his money.
Yeah, it's capitalism at its finest, right? He's part of the 2% who hold all of the wealth in our modern world. So it's just like, again, man, like this. I've seen people on Twitter even saying this is all part of a campaign, and if you see the front of the shirt, it actually has, different meaning, and it's all satire. But we don't need that right now. The levity that we need is just relief. We don't need more jokes about it, right? And we're not looking to you anyway. We're looking at Dave Chappelle. So just stay in your lane.
Can we
remember, guys? The first three letters of capitalism, cap.
Bing, bing, bing.
Can we though?
Drop a clue bomb on it.
Can we though have that conversation about separating the artist from the art?
And
I don't think you could do it anymore. You just get to a certain point where it's infamous.
Like, where do we draw the line?
I don't know if you can. I agree with Calvin. Like, well, remember we were talking earlier today. Like, if All Falls Down comes on at a wedding, are you like, yo, I can't dance to this because the T-shirt that he made or what he said about Kim or whatever, or if I hear la 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 with the like your mama. Am I gonna sit there and go like, guys, sorry guys, I can't, not this time, guys, change it, please put on Kodak Black instead. Right, which is even more problematic, right? Like, but I don't think you can separate the artist from the art, because he's used his art to have a platform to talk about different things. Mm-hmm. So you can't. I mean, like, that's the whole idea of cancel culture is BS. No one's ever canceled.
No, they just go to the corners that accept them, right?
But no one's ever canceled. Like, so you can't to separate the artist from the art from the artist is virtually impossible. That's why Dave Chappelle can get yelled at for having comments about the LGBTQ community, because a part of his art is commenting on that. That's why Kanye, who wanted to get into fashion, who wants this, who wants that, who wants to design airplanes and things like that, he's using his music to open up those avenues to do that. So to separate one from the other one, I don't know if you can do that, Stefan. And then that gives him an out. Well, it's not. It's listen to my music and ignore this part.
Yeah,
this is just my journal that I'm saying out loud.
Yeah, it's that idea of like what they say, that artists or celebrities are kind of like the new monarchy, the new royals in the world. And if you apply that logic to it, you look at all kinds of people who started off well or not well, throughout human history, good ideas, bad ideas. And as time goes on, you have the opportunity to ebb and flow, be good and be bad. And I just think that we're watching somebody fall off, like, incredibly. And again, he might make the best music that we've ever heard of on this next album. We don't know that, but we are getting a really good catalog of his character. And then to people who think that character doesn't matter, to people who think that, how you live your life in front of or, out of view, this is a classic case of, if you put somebody up too high, they will fall. They're going to disappoint you. They're going to drag you into conversations and spaces that you don't necessarily want to be in. And so I think a lot of the response from everybody, it shows really what our hearts are tethered to. And so for some of us, Stefan, you're saying, can you separate the art from the artist? Some of us are going to be so compelled by the art to be like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. It moves me. It's the soundtrack of my life. And then there's other people, right? I'm not going to disclose which that camp, which camp I'm in. There's like, would be okay with closing the door and saying, you don't get my money no more. Like, this is capitalism. There's an engine behind this, and I'm just not going to buy into it. And hopefully, my silent vote is, replicated throughout the world, and then we have better conversations, and maybe he returns to certain form. I don't know. We're rambling at this point, but I just think that it's been counterproductive to even the conversations that we've had with people. Like, I'm having to go back 2 years and revisit original thoughts and ideas, because it's become convoluted, and now there's a new poster child for something. There's a resurrection of sorts, of an idea that we're like, I thought we moved past this. I thought we had some common ground. Yeah, but your king, your hero, your representative said this. So what?
All right, let me throw a question then, right? Let me throw a question there about this then. I'm going to use a word that doesn't get used a lot in our age bracket, Gen X, millennial sort of thing, but it was our older than us. The word is coon. I ain't calling nobody nothing.
Right.
But one could say that people like Kanye, Candace, Larry Elder, Vody, Bochum or Beecham or whatever his name is.
Bochum. Yeah.
Bochum. Man's like that, women's like that they are tap dancing, minstrelly, entertaining a white audience, disregarding their own. Now, I'm sure that they would have different words about that from their perspective, right? Being that whether or not their main source of income and their main audience is white, these people are still black. If a police officer does not know who they are at that given day, well, not Kanye West, but other than that, like it might
Kanye.
be, right? Like punks jump up to get beat down, that sort of thing. But like, are black people able to have thought processes like a White Lives Matter? Is that okay? Is that allowed? And what are the repercussions of having that sort of ideal?
Right. None of those people live in the tax bracket of the people that they're ignoring. All of those people are living at the top of the totem poles of their, very specific and respected industries. And because they look the same, they're consulted as, oh, you've been successful, you made it out of the mud, let's say. So if you could do it, why can't they do it? And then they have this earned privilege that we've talked about, where they've been able to use their resources and their placement in time and history to be able to advance to the places that they got, some of which didn't start again. And I said this before, like Candace Owens she doesn't represent Harlem. She comes from a great privileged educational experience with black skin from the West Indies that gave her a huge step up over a Kanye West. And so to see the two of them dancing and parading, it's devastating to people who look like them, who can't get it like them, right? And they're part of the small percentage that cannot speak for anymore. They've grown beyond the ability to speak for the average Black American person who is wrestling with this tension of, will I be shot tonight? Will I get home? If something goes down, am I the first to drop? And we've exhausted the thought and the topic of what it could look like, because it's different for us, but it looks similar to us too. They look like us, but they're not us. They're different. They're a different breed.
Cal, I think the thought, like, I get where you're coming from, but I think the thought process is a little obnoxious to think that way. Just because they either may have been in a place where they may have experienced what the average Black or ethnic minority person may have felt, and now that they've made their way out, they don't have a say in that.
Kanye West hasn't been a kid from Chicago for 30 years.
But it doesn't matter. He has been. And to take that away from him would be taking away what we in the church world would call his testimony. We'd be like, you can't really talk on that because you've been out for 30 years. I just feel like it's a tough call to ask, especially when we look at the flip side. And this is kind of where my process is, where like you look at someone like Lil Baby, where like that boy been trapping all the time. You look at someone like Future, Lil Durk, all of those guys that you'd be like, nah, these guys are out here trapping. But then they come out, but we still give them more clout because they talk about the things a lot more.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, Kanye is so much more removed from, the culture, let's say, than a Lil Baby is. Like, he's not there anymore. He's on private jets to Monaco. It's completely different.
So cool, but this is now where I know we talked about it. I think season 2 of, you're now categorizing what quote unquote blackness is and saying that whatever Kanye West is doing isn't considered black because he may be in a different tax bracket.
No, I'm not saying that he's not black. I never said he's black. I'm saying that who he wants to represent and who the general population is saying that he is speaking for, he's physically like removed from it. He's completely distant from the reality of the Chicago rapper that we learned as Kanye West in a pink polo. He's not that guy anymore. And so to expect him to continue to think like and think for people, that are working minimum wage jobs in food deserts in urban America, I think it's irresponsible. And it puts if he's allowed to make a statement like that contradicts the large majority of the population he says he represents, then that's telling enough. It's not saying that, hey, you're not invited to speak at this conference. It's like, you don't speak at this conference because you don't speak the language that we speak. You don't care about the things that we care about. You're looking at us saying, yo, I made it out. How come you can't? So when he said, like, we wear chains because it's part of who we are in Diamonds, like, he's not even there anymore. He's so far removed from being conscious about what's actually happening in the streets that, again, he's not saying he's the representative of, but people who have the same idea and the same mindset take that idea and say, if Kanye said it and Kanye did it, then Jerome should be able to figure it out as well.
But we've seen Kanye like this for the last few years, right? It started with the MAGA hat. So in a way, we shouldn't really be surprised at this. I think this is a bit of like even more brash than the MAGA hat and the meeting with Donald Trump. Because listen, I'm of the opinion, if the president of the United States wants to meet with you, regardless of who it is, that's a meeting with the president of the United States. And so, that's one thing. The MAGA hat's another thing, but this seems to be another step in Kanye sort of rewriting his own life narrative. Right. And being that person who, I don't want to say Kanye is trying to build bridges, because I don't think it's hard to build one bridge while you blow up another one, right? Like, I don't know if he's trying to do that, but right. I think in his attempt to push the envelope, in his attempt to offer a bit of social commentary on things, he's maybe overstepped a little. A little bit just a little bit, because I think as much of we've seen Kanye do some really wild and weird things, I think he's very calculated at certain things, and I think there's a lot of calculation in having the shirts, a lot of calculation in taking pictures with Candace Owens in the shirts, and Lauryn Hill's daughter was like, there's like, we're looking at like, I think this is very calculated on Kanye's part, and I think Kanye was just trying to be the same Kanye, but he's not the same Kanye.
He's not the same Kanye. Right? He's not the guy in the polo saying, man, George Bush really doesn't care about black people. You see what the hurricane did? Like, he's not there, and we can't expect him to be there. But people want him to be. The people who like what he has to say as it pertains to their narrative. I mean, all they saw was a T-shirt and one quote, right. And all of a sudden he's the black representative of the idea. And bro, just make music. You know what I'm saying? And you're saying that.
I mean, Done It Too wasn't that great.
And dribble.
No, great. But like, you can say as much as you want.
Nice, O'Shea.
And you can say as much as you want, man, I love these people. But your behavior doesn't indicate that. We all learn that from our parents. Don't tell me you're sorry, show me.
Calvin,
there's this
Cal, what if like 2 years from now he like rips off the mask and says, infiltrate the dealer and find the supplier? And he just told us, yo, he took one for the team to take down the man.
But is it worth it?
He's been playing both sides the entire time?
Yeah.
Like,
it was me. It was me.
It's possible this is all a publicity stunt. I'm just saying, is it worth it? And I would say the overwhelming evidence of the reactions are, no, we don't think that this is working the way that you thought it would. Nice try, but no thanks. And I think it's in that idea again of like, if you have sunburn and I want to hail you up and dap you and give you a hug, it's going to hurt as hell. Like, I love you, man. I want to give you a hug. I'm embracing you. I'm saying wagwan. But because of the condition that you're in, it's going to be the worst thing you've experienced in a long time. And so you can have all the great intentions, Kanye West, and do what you want to do because that's what's in your heart to do. But you're hurting the people that you're saying that you're holding. That's it.
I would only add to the discourse between the three of you, right? Like Kanye West has made a career of pushing envelopes.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's in his music, you look at the album sonically, Graduation, how different it was from everyone else. He went major pop, or you look at 808 and Heartbreak, you look at My Bar, Beautiful Dark Twisted, like he was, and lyrically and verbally, and you talk about George Bush doesn't care about black people, like he's always been that way. I think the difference is, in his case, he always had, for the most part, not everybody, but he always had the black community behind him going like, yeah, you're our dude. You're our dude. And now over time, it's been like people are trying to kind of be like, yeah, you're still our dude, but there's the disappointment. And then you add to that, and this has to be a part of the conversation, you add to that whether you like Kim Kardashian or not, the verbal stuff about her online and things like that, about her and the kids, that adds to, dude, what are you doing? When you talk about Kim talking about other people that she's been with, that adds to the, dude, what are you doing? And so it makes it harder and harder and harder. Like Donda for a lot of people was kind of like, oh man, like I'm liking this in spite of you being the worst right now. Right. Like I'm liking this album in spite of you being just the worst of things.
Yeah, you're riding on like yesterday's grace almost.
Yeah, literally. And I listen, man, I remember when my friend Phil Bennett flew back from the States and he dropped off the College Dropout album in my apartment bedroom in March of 2004, I believe. I remember it. I remember that was it for me. That was it for me. I remember it like it was yesterday. So I'm not capping. Like I've been a fan of his.
You're not
music.
a hater.
I'm not a hater. I was a fan when he was producing tracks on the Dynasty album with Jay's. I've been a fan, and I'm like, bro, like, man, we looked up to you, dude. We looked up to you, right? And I also add this too. There's something to be said for these guys who ain't schooled talking like they're schooled.
Well, that goes to that's sort of like the conversation we might have had earlier in the chat about, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar talking about Kyrie Irving. We're taking a lot of our, this doesn't sound terrible, but we've got a lot of uneducated people held up and saying things, and people are using and people are holding these people up. Meanwhile, the doctors and like the people who are learned and studied, we ignore them. And I think a part of, and let's say North American society is we elevate the celebrity. And so we elevate the Kanye West, we elevate the Kyrie Irving, we elevate, some of the stupid people, as opposed to elevating someone like a Dr. Cornel West, right? Like who should be one of our more highly regarded thought leaders. Not that he's not regarded, but he should be much more highly regarded. And I think that's a problem with celebrityism in North America, is the people who quote unquote make the most money and do these things. Those are the people who have the most influence. And meanwhile, the people who should be the influence, they get mocked because they read books. Kanye West came out the other day and said he doesn't read because reading's like eating Brussels sprouts. And I was like, you dummy, Brussels sprouts are good for you. What?
And also you get them right.
And they're actually, depending on how you make them, they're actually not that bad either.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's like you've caught up to your heroes in some ways.
Right.
We don't need you to be cool anymore. Like you were our fashion sense. You helped us break the boundaries of the art that we appreciated. You helped us think differently about fashion and the economics of our life. We don't need you to be cool anymore, Kanye.
Yeah.
We're looking at Jay-Z and we're saying, we're still riding with that dude.
Even there, we're like,
and progressing.
Here's the weird thing about, and maybe this is shifting off to like to music a bit, right? But hip hop is aging is hard in rap music. You know what I'm saying? Like
impossible
hip-hop,
almost.
hip hop is like you can still, like U2 is still going to be U2. The Stones are going to be the Stones. People still look at the Beatles like Paul McCartney can like murder somebody in the street. People are like, oh well, so Paul McCartney murdered somebody. Well, is he going to play a concert tonight? Like hip hop is kind of like you get to 35 and someone's like about to put you, take you behind the shed and kind of go like, well, your career's over.
And that used to be 25.
Right? I'm still at an arbitrary number, and so like Jay is still Jay, but Jay's not Jay. If that makes any sense.
Exactly.
You feel me?
He's evolved, not devolved.
He's evolved. He's just, and so like when you spit, you're kind of like, okay, cool, but like, all right, God did.
Just tell us about how we can, finance cars better.
Right? Like, okay, you have a Basquiat. You have a Basquiat. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like don't talk about like still dealing coke because we know that you're not. We know that you're not, Jay.
Right.
Beyonce wouldn't let you because she has that bigger time money. No, we shut up money.
Right. But you see him evolve as a man, right? So you're just like, we see you step up and step out. And some of our favorite artists.
Everything. I cannot complain. I don't really even know how much I made. I forgot. I don't know it's worse. A lot.
You or Bart. Which one of you is a human? You guys need to do a versus, just human beatbox, human jukebox.
Jeez. I just remember that Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it too, guys. Like Stefan, like what you're saying is, I think that surmises we've just caught up to him. And I'm like, I've read literally hundreds of more books than you.
Right. But it's crazy.
I've matured and I've grown more than you have, and I've watched you, over half of my life now. It's not to say that you're not educated in where you're educated and that you're not passionate or successful in the areas that you are, but like who you want to be in my life anymore.
You're not
I don't
there.
need you to do that, Uncle Kanye. I have new mentors. You're not that cool to me anymore because I'm grown.
But it's crazy because if we take two celebrity thought leaders, I'm going to compare them in Kanye West and Dave Chappelle. You can look at Dave Chappelle and see that this guy reads, and as much as people hate what Dave Chappelle says in some of his specials, if you get beyond the vitriol and you get beyond the shock and awe of what he says, and then you sit back and you look at what he's saying and you look at his and how he's saying it, you actually get the message behind what he's saying. We can't figure out the message behind what Kanye is saying. And I think in some aspects, Kanye doesn't even know. He's just going for shock and awe. He's just going for, I'm trying to deliver this really cool thought, but it falls flat on its face, even past the vitriol and the anger. You're just like, even 3 weeks from now, we'll be like, dude, why'd you do that? That was still stupid.
They'll have another thing by then anyhow. And then the reminder too, that there are conservative pundits who love this, who love the anti-woke. Like, woke was something that was like legitimately created and held on to by the Black community and then taken by conservative media to co-opt it to kind of say anything that was like not what they like. So it's just in a world that's already divided, it's just weird how an artist like Kanye has only added to the divide when he was for a long time a bridge between like the trap and the soccer mom.
Yep.
If that makes any sense, right? Like the soccer mom or the yoga instructor doing their course to Stronger, right? And then the trapper listening to Can't Tell Me Nothing. You feel me? Like, or Lamborghini Mercy, like all these sort of things at the same time. And now it's kind of like in a statement. We used to have this whole thing, guys. It was like Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter, right?
Right.
Or Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter. There's no such thing as a blue life. Again, Dave Chappelle. I'll tell you this. How was blue life?
To the Smurfs.
About the game. Right? but to make a statement like white lives matter is there's something to that. Like there's such a statement there. that goes beyond all lives, because all lives were said by white people and a collection of black people, but then you say white lives matter, even for shock and awe, like it's hard to come back from that. That's all I'm saying. I'm rambling a bit.
Yeah, and it's whatless. Like, for what? For what?
Like, here's the upsetting part, though. Like, he will come back. Like, you got to remember, he's the same person that said, yo, slaves had a choice. That slavery, like, that's foul. Like, that, I would honestly put that higher than the white lives matter. Because, like, at least when you saying white lives matter, like, you're saying a truth that we know. Like, yeah, they do.
But, like and then, O'Shea, like, yeah, all right. Go.
No, go ahead. That was it.
So I was going to say, remember earlier in the conversation, like, if you sit him down and let him talk long enough, it makes sense. I think we got to stop affording him that luxury. Unfortunately, we need to afford him the luxury so that he can sit down and be like, when I said that slavery is a choice, I'm talking about post-slavery slave mindset. And you're like, yo, Kanye, it shouldn't take you an hour and 20 minutes to make sense of the 20-second thing that you said. So you're an apologist for your idiocy. You're not actually a genius. You're poor, right? And so I'm sure he has, a 5-part Netflix series episodes to show us why white lives matter and what he really meant by it. But we don't have time for that anymore. That's a luxury we cannot afford you. And I think we just need to stop. We just got to stop talking about him. We got to stop listening to, what he's saying and stop contributing to the conversation, which sucks. But we can't be an apologist for what he might be thinking.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that there's, like, the difficulty is we often in our community, which is, you don't see this in the white community. You don't see white people apologizing for other white people, like, en masse, but we feel the need to apologize for our own and explain away stuff. You know what I mean? There's enough, if a white person falls down, there's like 55 other white people to kind of replace them.
Yeah, I wish Malcolm was here.
But in our community, right? Like, if you lose one, it's kind of like, oh shoot, like that. Yep. And so we find ourselves often always apologizing for the blunders and the failures. Listen, man, how many people were apologizing for R. Kelly before R. Kelly finally got taken down?
Facts.
And still recording with him and things like that. Like, how many people were doing all those sort of things? You feel me? Right. And so, how many times I like what you said, Calvin, not affording Kanye the ability to apologize until then he feels like until he then says the black community has rejected him or blackballed him. It's like, nah, man, you blackballed yourself. Pause.
Yep.
Can't say that.
He said it. Chris was quoting a lyric from Life.
Don't say I said it. Yo, you see how Cookie trying to throw me under the bus? That's crazy. See, when if I'm going down, you're coming down too.
Pause.
Yeah, I was about to say, gentlemen, we've been on this topic for almost an hour, and I think it's fair to say that we've given Kanye West his due. I even think there's nothing really more to say. Unless he has I don't want to say come Jesus moment because he would say himself he's come Jesus multiple times. But they really much
too.
They really much to say. They have much to say about him. Let us know. We're 5 guys out of 11. Got to add in the silent financier, the Godfather, the add him in there to into our grouping. What do you think? What do you think about what Kanye has said? His recent actions? Please let us know if you think white lives matter. Put that in the chat and also put your name on that and your address. We really appreciate that so we can know exactly who you are and what you think. If you're choosing between black, no, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. Gentlemen, before we sign off here, real quick, lightning round thing. Aaron Judge, is he the overall official home run king of baseball or only the American League? Calvin, I'll start with you.
Only the American League.
Stefan.
I got to say only the American League.
Timothy.
He's hit a lot of home runs.
That's such a push. You're such a loser.
Whoa, bro.
Such a push.
We'll have some Brussels sprouts.
That's such a lame thing to say. Nice. Well played. Fine, whatever. O'Shea.
Just the American League.
So to you guys, still, Barry Bonds is still the reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight home run champion of the world.
Not cheating if everyone does it.
Yo,
Also do it.
Listen. I want to put this on the record. Just like let's
Talk about baseball. Talk about baseball.
Let's just kind of like no one here's getting.
Yo, you said lightning. Somebody gonna get hit by lightning tonight.
Someone's gonna get hit by lightning. I'm just.
That's a
You want to say that differently, O'Shea? You want to say that a little differently?
No, you said what he said.
said what he said.
I said afterwards. I'm like, this is good. Come on, man.
What I'll say to make my point as well is if the other guys never got caught, Aaron Judge would be the Yankee who hit the most home runs as a Yankee. That itself is the fact. And 62 for American League record itself is MLB trying to do something without fixing the thing that they made a lot of money off of and don't want to reverse.
Preach.
They pimp those guys. But yo, shout out to Albert Pujols. He stands, him and Hank Aaron, they stand alone. If Judge can do this for another 10, 12 years and catch some of those numbers, then let's talk
so
about it.
you said shout outs to Albert Pujols and Hank Aaron for standing alone. Are you negating Barry Bonds 762?
No, Albert Pujols and Hank Aaron are the only ones who were able to get 700 home runs and 3,000 hits.
Oh, okay, okay. So we're
just pure hitting.
I read something that kind of to what Tim just said about how baseball was a coward, and baseball should have, if they really felt that Barry Bonds was cheating, they should have said we do not count your record. We don't count it. We put it asterisk beside it, or that's it. And he got tested, never got caught. Again, we're not promoting
that whole era. I hate that Barry takes the brunt of it, but that whole era, there was permissions and non-permissions, and baseball rode that and pimped that. They got all of my friends in high school who didn't play baseball but respected, the sport because it's sports. They loved Barry Bonds. It was their every day at SportsCenter. They wanted to see, did Barry Bonds hit another home run? How far? And what did Vince Carter do? And so the MLB rode that. They pimped it. They made it the most amazing thing that you could be thinking about when it comes to baseball. And then once those guys retired, they said, thank you, next. And that's it.
If we're going to jump in, they had no choice, to be honest.
They had no choice.
They had no choice.
They weren't making money. People weren't watching baseball anymore. They had to do something. That's what Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, all them do.
But that's the pimping. And so by not letting these guys in the hall and, putting little stars beside their names, you knew what you had. And you rode that, and you gained a ton of fans. You got a ton of fans. You allowed it to happen, and you don't get to turn around and pretend like, oh, my bad. You're not even saying it's your bad.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Oh, wow.
And also,
yo.
Commissioner Chris.
Sorry, the chat got a little loud. So go ahead, Tim.
Also, this itself would have remained undisclosed if it wasn't for a Senate subcommittee that, for whatever reason, got wind of what was going on and basically held the Major League Baseball executive committee their feet to the fire. because that was really when everything really came out. When you had senators that were basically asking questions about it, because otherwise
We would never know.
we would never know. And Barry Bonds would be the greatest power hitter that ever lived, and most likely would have ended up in the Hall
Unanimously.
Yeah.
Like not even like it's crazy. And like, so like that said, respect to Aaron Judge. I'm sorry, I'm upset that 61 happened against our Blue Jays, but respect to him. 62 home runs that's a crazy stat. That's incredible to see that happen for real. And he's still young. He can do this. He can do this again next season after that. Like, it's, more power to him. But like, it's just interesting them like pushing like the narrative of American League, and Roger Maris' son going like, I'm so happy for a clean record. And it's like, yeah, okay, show your clean proof.
Right.
All the things, all the things that way. So we're all on. Okay, go ahead, Calvin.
Yeah, as Andrew Jones would say, isn't it interesting that he's a Christian too?
Well, Maranatha.
The Lord is coming.
The Lord is coming. Maranatha. Any last topics you guys want to chat about before we close the show off?
Yeah, of course.
My car's dead. My phone's about to die. I gotta log off. Love you guys.
What? Your car dead again?
Fam, I rolled down the street.
Listen.
Look at
fans of the
where
show.
I'm sitting, bro. Look where
fans of the show. We need to take up a GoFundMe for Calvin's car. Like, legitimately, it has ruined a lot of our hangouts, and it's ruining his life.
The beige lion needs your support.
He needs his support. So,
beige lives matter.
Friends of us. Wow, there you go. Make a t-shirt.
At least you got a car, bro. Respect me, dog.
Listen, we're not gonna. We want to talk about down the show right now. Want to do that too?
I'm out.
All right, Cal.
See you, man.
Easy.
Yo.
What were you gonna say before we close the show off?
I was just gonna ask, what are you thinking for Extreme Rules this Saturday? I know these other two jokers are gonna flame us, but
you know what, man?
Rules.
I haven't watched any wrestling. I haven't watched any football. I am so like out of the loop on everything. Like, this weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, I'm about to get put in the work. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, get caught up. I will have a response for you, and I will do a Talking to Yourself exclusive about Extreme Rules on either Saturday or Sunday, because I really legitimately have no clue what's going on. I'm losing every fantasy football league I'm in because I haven't paid attention. I'm losing in everything. I listen. My life is a sham right now. It's crazy.
You know who's not losing? This guy.
And on that note, friends, shout outs to all of you for listening and watching us. This video will likely come out next Wednesday because Tim is busy. But for those of you who rock with us, maybe we're back here 2 weeks from now because somebody else has done something really crazy and we were able to get all of us together. Until then, for O'Shea, for Stefan, for Calvin, who really needs a car, like, that's not even a joke. Like, legitimately, he needs a new car. If you could help him out with that, that'd be great. And for Timothy, I'm Chris Chase, represent the rest of the guys. This is guys, before we go. Isn't it exciting, guys? Unless Calvin's car breaks down, that we're all going to see the Wakanda Forever together.
Yeah. And
we all got our tickets on the same day. Like,
shout out Reem.
Shout out Reem for pointing up the dough. We all make sure to pay him back. I'll pay him back eventually. But listen, between now and November 10th, when we go see the movie, you're going to hear exclusives. We should even maybe do a live show the night we get there from the actual movie theater. All these sort of things. It's exciting. Good things are happening. The show's back. The boys are back. Chris Chase, O'Shea, Stefan, Tim, the man them, we out here. This has been the House of Common Show. Boom!
O'Shea, you're wrong, bro.
For what?
At least you have a car. Yo,